Boy, what a day in politics. National MPs are gathering in Wellington for a crisis meeting to elect a new leader, just 53 days after they chose the last one. It follows the shock resignation of Todd Muller, who rolled Simon Bridges in May. In a statement, the Bay of Plenty MP said after reflecting on his experiences of the last several weeks, it has become clear to him that he is not the best person to lead the opposition at this critical time. Todd Muller went on to say things had become untenable from a health point of view. So right now, the job that some describe as the toughest in politics is vacant, following a baptism by fire that ended with a political burnout.
We have breaking news. Todd Muller has resigned as leader of the opposition. In a statement, he says, "I have taken time over the weekend to reflect on my experience over the last several weeks as leader of the opposition."
Stunned, Muller out, just like that.
To be the leader of the opposition and leader of the New Zealand National Party at this critical time for New Zealand. It is more important than ever.
53 days ago, Todd Muller prized the leadership from Simon Bridges' clenched fist by a whisker, after two political polls showed the party vote was headed in the wrong direction if the goal was winning. Holding his wife's hand, Todd Muller confidently marched to the podium to give his first speech as leader. Nikki Kaye and Judith Collins at his back. A select group of MPs fanned out around him.
Now we must begin taking another step forward together with confidence. The confidence to rebuild our country, to rebuild our economy, and to restore the livelihoods of New Zealanders. Only a national government can provide the leadership to do that. That is why we must win the next election. Nikki and I and our team understand that the task for the next government is immense. We are honoured by the opportunity to lead this great party, and we take it very seriously.
Barely crowned leader, and it was another bit of headgear that stirred up controversy. The Make America Great Again baseball cap displayed in his new office was arguably more own goal than home run and was swiftly packed away.
I got one of those and I got a Hillary Clinton badge, and I've got them both in my office. But for some reason, the Hillary Clinton badge never gets looked at, and everyone sees the MAGA cap. When I was a 10-year-old boy, I wanted to be the American president. I've adjusted that slightly. I've got a different goal now in 122 days.
A relative unknown to voters, there was the whirlwind getting to know you phase of a new relationship. If you've got room for one dinner guest, Scott Morrison or Donald Trump?
Oh, Scott Morrison.
Legalise cannabis or not?
No.
What's your superpower?
I'm a pretty good cuddler of the kids.
And what's your nickname?
Nickname? Toddles. Toddy. Toddster.
Meanwhile, Todd Muller was matchmaking too, politicians with portfolios. Judith Collins took out Economic and Regional Development and Shadow Attorney General. Amy Adams was resurrected from the political dead, Muller wooing her back from planned retirement. But with Bridges down and Paula Bennett jettisoned to unlucky 13 in the rankings, Todd Muller's front bench was a whiteout. Asked about Māori representation in his caucus, and Vice-Captain Nikki Kaye set up a second own goal.
Shane Retty and Paula Bennett.
And obviously Paul Goldsmith obviously is of Ngāti Porou.
Do you identify as Māori? You've just been named as the one Māori.
No, I'm not Māori.
Why did Nikki Kaye say that?
She obviously wasn't 100% clear on his whakapapa.
The next day, Todd Muller returned to familiar territory, kati.
Well, I'm delighted that the media followed me. You're never quite sure who turns up with these things, but it's fair to say that Apata hasn't quite seen a circus like this for a while.
That delight would fade in T-minus 47 days. But in this moment, visiting a local pack house dressed in high-vis, Muller was happy to be seen and heard.
Most New Zealanders are unemployed, but they don't know it yet. We have an extraordinary crisis in front of us, and our caucus is totally focused on developing an economic recovery plan that works for New Zealand families.
Let's briefly revisit his first speech as leader.
I'm not interested in opposition for opposition's sake. We're all tired of that kind of politics. I'm about ideas that get results.
The fledgling leader honed in on allegations of government failings at the border, isolation breaches and runners. one word revealed itself as a firm favourite.
It's a shambles, actually. Being managed in a shambolic way. This shambolic nonsense can be sent back home.
Todd Muller would shortly be facing his own shambles. In the meantime, a visit to his hometown of Te Puna did little to cement his identity as National's new leader.
I joined the Labour Party rather than I joined the National Party. Should I start again?
Then the Muller load hit. Tuesday last week, National MP Hamish Walker outed himself as the person responsible for the COVID-19 patient leaks. Former National Party President Michelle Bogue trumped his confession with her own. She was the original source of the information. Now, in breaking news, we have another statement. This one is from Michelle Bogue, the former president. But it didn't end there. Remember that leadership speech.
My absolute focus as the National Party leader will be New Zealand's economic recovery.
What policies have you sorted? You don't have to tell me what they are, but which ones are in the can?
I'm not going to go through that with you on afternoon radio.
You can't even tell us what policies you've decided on. Forget the content of the policy, just the ones that you're in agreement on and they're ready to go.
No, I'm not going there because it's up
Is that because you don't have them?
No, not at all, Lisa.
The day after the cascade of confessions, Todd Muller in Ashburton for a significant policy announcement was facing bumper-to-bumper questions, but not the ones he wanted.
Any questions about the road? Come on, 1.5 billion, 4-lane highway, fantastic. Sorry? This is an isolated incident. Hamish Walker went behind my back.
On Friday, it was clear Todd Muller had fudged it. Senior National MP Michael Woodhouse had also got leaked private patient information from Michelle Bogue and deleted it around the time the government announced a full investigation.
Did anyone in your team know about the source of this leak prior to that?
No.
Did any of your MPs, other than Hamish Walker, know about the source of the leak prior to that?
Not that I'm aware of at all.
Have you sought assurances?
I haven't asked every other MP.
At the point he was asked, Todd Muller knew it all, but chose not to volunteer the information, prompting allegations of a resurgence of so-called dirty politics. MPs in his inner circle say the new leader went silent over the weekend. By today, Todd Muller's initial enthusiastic ambitions were distant musings. So let's talk about KPIs here. What's the deadline for getting back to polling over 40%? What's your goal?
My total focus is to win the election. We're 120 days out from the election. That's my team's focus. That's what we'll do.
For Muller's leadership, the countdown election clock is frozen at 67 days.